All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday afternoon, January 4th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, this time of the day, welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Great to see Chuck, always first to the punch on the loud and clear. Great to see him. Great to see Michael. Great to see all of us here live inside the trading room. Norman, Ari, Deborah, Charles included, and all of us otherwise. Welcome on back. And again, if you're joining us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, likewise. So, to begin, we'll start off with the stock on the screen as always. The Ford trade for right now actually made a nice bounce off of 24 and pushing back up. So, right away, we'll put this on our afternoon list. It looks pretty strong heading into the afternoon, pretty close to the highs still. Now to go over this trade in full, or at least as quickly as we can, it's just to say this. The opening bell print this morning, I think, was at like 22.49, 22.50, if not even. Ended up making the slingshot right from there, really within the first minute, 2 minutes. And at that point, once it ended up beginning to make that slingshot, I unfortunately missed it myself. I know a bunch of us were able to get in a bit later on. I thought I was going to be chasing it if I didn't get in from that 22.50. As we know, Ford has been a very, not to say always slow moving stock, but listen, I mean, the stock's trading 251 million shares today. It trades that type of volume quite frequently. And for a stock that trades that much volume pretty frequently, it's going to be a little shaky at times. And we've known for it to be shaky at times. And I thought that was going to be the case, at least if I had missed it from 22.50. Clearly was not the case. So to go over this trade, at least afterwards, it was just in the sense of waiting the first break of a major level and then re-entering it if it gives you that second chance. 23 pop and drop, 23 pop and run. Same to be said pretty much every 50 cents off of 24. It had a false breakout at first, and then it ended up making the shimmy up higher. So hey, this was a great trade throughout the whole day. And as I just said before, it's holding over 24 currently and beginning to push up off it. So easily, we'll put this Ford stock back on our main watch list. Mark D says the RELI trade ended up saving his day. So let's go over RELI also. I mean, hey, it's a stock up also just about 24%, pushing up heading into this afternoon as well. I took a step away from the trading room after we had done Traders Talk. I had a quick appointment myself. So I came back and this was already at 10 pretty much. So, hey, it ended up making a really nice breakout once it finally made a clean crack above the resistance off of 850. From there, obviously, continued to grind on up. But same to be said at 10 as we just showed on Ford. Basically the first test of a major level, you should expect for it to hold. I would not look to lean right in, expect a false breakout. So with that, easy to say, but false breakout here. Ended up popping and dropping right from the 10. For right now, trying to get back up there. This, unlike the Ford trade, is pretty damn volatile, not just shaky. This is a volatile stock. Obviously, just look what happened here off the false breakout from 10. Made an over $1 move on the way down. So, that's what I mean in the sense of volatile. But for right now, showing strength, at least moving back up, heading into the afternoon. We'll see if this can keep pushing. Also, we're really familiar with the stock too, dating back to last week. And then obviously yesterday, we had called it out after the market opened up. So in the sense of this, like really trying to pop and run, folks, don't hold your breath for this. But it is to say, if this can make a clean crack above 10, whether it be today, tomorrow, this week, whenever, your next historical level. Obviously, there's going to be levels in between here, big iceberg levels perhaps too. But look at this like 15 level here. Holy smokes. In the sense of like a home run trade, if the stars align and this pops, perhaps this can make a closer run back up to 15. Again, though, don't hold your breath waiting for that. But, hey, heading into the afternoon, let's see if this could re-break 10 first. And we'll go from there. So, again, reliable put back on our main watch list. Mark D then saying, what about the NTRB? Let's look. Beautiful. Wow, really nice pop right now. So great heads up on this mark currently. I think that we had called it out just a little bit before the meeting started. If not, then hey, we'll see if we can keep this going as well. NTRB was a stock from, I think, yesterday too, or rather, it was actually from Friday afternoon here. Today, Tuesday. So back from the 31st of last week, last year. This ended up making a big pop at that time. It had really thin volume on the book. I remember that day. Well, look what we have here. Very thin volume. You have a couple of larger orders here and there, but it's still thin. Very scarce volume out there on the bid and the ask. So that's definitely a big concern. But with the way this is looking so far, great call in terms of a afternoon watch list stock. All right. So what we'll do, folks, I mean, hey, we had plenty of other movers from today. The PSTV trade, of course, we just, we talked about before. GNPX, the HOTH trade, which is still the top percent gainer right now. So let's go right from top to bottom. Otherwise, we'll see what else could be added to our, afternoon list. At least with the HOTH trade, it was on our morning watch list for a reason, pretty active in pre-market. Forgot the news at the time, but nonetheless, as soon as the stock opened up, it ended up re-breaking above resistance I had on my chart off of 120, and from there ended up taking off. It got halted, it reopened up. I think it got halted on the way down as well. Let me just double check on that. Maybe wrong on that. So it got halted at 940, reopened up at 945, dropped off the next minute. Did not get halted on the way down. Did not get halted on the way down. Doesn't need to be halted on the way down for it to be game over, but ended up pretty much false breaking 150 quite a number of times. You could say it's kind of still hanging there, but unless if this ends up making a big pop as we continue this meeting, I'm not too particular about this just yet. I guess RELI has warrants. That's pretty interesting. RELI has warrants here. The warrants are just really hard to follow using level 3. So we're sticking on the stock, folks, not the warrant. I would only ever add a warrant to our watch list if it made sense, like if it made sense in terms of the liquidity. If it was like a really tight spread, more volume out there on the book. And that's not the case with warrants quite often. So I'd rather trade RELI, the stock itself. Another big move from today, the NLSP trade. Sheesh. So this one, pre-market, this one ended up making a pop and a drop. I wasn't as particular about this stock leading into the open today because there wasn't much of a trend. But I recall this because from the pre-market pop that we had, there was a bunch of buying that came in early, specifically at 134. 134 in particular. I think it may have even been this spike, even as it popped above. You have a bit of a green volume spike there. It's to say this: what happens if history repeats itself, right? Well, after the market opened up, false breakout, second attempt, little shake, but it was worth it on the second try. Held it as support after, ran up beautifully from that point. Right now, though, obviously, right back down. So not too particular about this here, too. And we'll keep it going. WBEV, I'm pretty unfamiliar with this symbol here. It's only trading 400,000 shares across the whole day. That's like very light. What is this? Wink Inc. I don't know what the company does. Maybe a beverage drink, who knows? And BEV in the name, but nonetheless, just very thin volume out there. It's up a lot. It's within our price range, but could have more volume than this. All right, so we'll see if there's anything else that we could add to our list so far. Good start, though, between those three trades: Ford, RELI, and the NTRB stock. As volatile as I just said, RELI was, at least this order book is a little bit more readable compared to the warrants, right? All right. So let's see what else we got here. PSTV ended up being a bit more of a disappointment because this was actually trending up really well leading into the open, moving up nicely. Big volume spike at the time prior to 9:30 when it cracked above 2. Unfortunately, failed to break. Well, it broke higher. Failed to hold support at 2. From there, completely crashed. And then even from there, I tried jumping in a couple of occasions at 183. On 2 trades, I took a total of 3 cents as a loss. So I'm happy with getting out where I did. Obviously, wasn't worth the time. And now at this point, just continuing to sink. So yeah, right now, I mean, I feel like the stock's done this in the past too. Yeah, just look at all the daily chart. Look at all the bars or candles on the daily chart, so to say here, especially these red ones. That's how you could tell this is like a pop and drop stock. At its finest here. More often than not, when the stock comes out with news and pre-market, does not continue after the open. All right, so we'll see what else we got here, folks. ALZN, I see RKDA from Cliff. That was from yesterday at least, but this ALZN, while we're at it, don't mind if I do. looks really strong here so far. Pulling back a bit off the last high off 244, but we'll see if it can make a higher low. We'll see if it can keep going. Nice stock to put on our list here. Looks good. KLXE also at the highs. Order book checks out. All right. It's just trading very thin volume. It's only trading 383,000 shares across the whole day. That's poor. This is Cliff's RKDA that you're thinking about yesterday afternoon. It didn't make the big move at the time or the continued move. Well, we had called it out this morning, at least after the bigger pop at first, but then we were able to jump on it a bit later on. So the RKDA wasn't too bad for us, but nothing going on right now, right? All right, so let's see what else we got here on the gainers side here. Otherwise, now we have a lot more stocks that are up percentage-wise. I think when I did the morning meeting, I think number 50 was up like 3%. That was it. So definitely there's a lot more that's up now. Let's see if there's any familiar names that check out right away. So Michael typing in the LAC stock in the chat board, and here it is, number 38 on the gainers list. Still near the highs. Check that out. We had called this out early on this morning. I think Ari was first to the punch on it. We had it up for a little while. Not an easy stock, beautiful trend, but again, big spread, a bit of a fluctuation in the liquidity on the order book. But obviously, with where this is right now, heading into the afternoon, it would be hard for us to not put this on our watch list. So definitely we'll add LAC. I think this is a lithium-based stock as well. We've traded this in the past over the last 6 months. All right, we keep it going. We keep it pushing. Let's see what else we got here. I think that just about does it on the gainer side, perhaps, but we'll hop over to the losers list here coming up. Yeah. All right, so let's just do that here. Down 40%, down 38.5%, and this one's shortable. All right, we might have some opportunities on the loser side here. Let's see. ZME, that doesn't look like it here so much. It was down big. Just wanted to check it out. GRTS. Wow, I completely missed out on this trade. I mean, all of us together, I guess. Ended up providing for such a nice drop off this morning. Not a whole lot of activity within the pre-market, but man, just this thing got clobbered. Ended up dropping down all across the morning into the afternoon, albeit right now beginning to make a bit of a dead cat bounce. But very active stock. Good liquidity, love all of it. So I really like this stock, GRTS, and we'll see where it goes. What I mean by that is, hey, this is trending back up pretty steadily off the lows, right? So we're not fully writing this as a short right now. If it happens to, maybe make a false breakout from like a 750 and comes back down, and that's perhaps an opportunity to think about here. But the way this is trending back up, let's look for a false break off 750, and then if it slams right back under that big level, maybe that could be the short. So we'll see. There we go. All right, what else we got here? ARVO down big. It's a cheapie, shortable. Not a whole lot really happening. It already bounced up a little nicely here. You don't want to be stuck watching the grass grow on this trade in either direction, long or short. The GRTS was just a little bit more active so far heading into the afternoon. Got LU here on the losers list, familiar name, actually breaking all-time lows today, I believe, and it is still shortable. You know what? I'd rather focus on this right now as far as the possible short. All-time lows, liquidity checks out well. LU. All right, I'll tell you what, there's a lot more on the loser side here as well. Market dropped off, of course, earlier today. Not by a whole lot, but lower high, lower low, bouncing back up, obviously, now. Let's see. Nothing really standing out here. Familiar name, number 50, CPOT from last week. Yeah, I guess trying to actually go up a bit. But I'm not feeling it too much on this stock just yet. We'll keep this on the side list for right now. Hey, if this pops, I would love to call it out. I just think that there's better stocks otherwise at first, like IMMX. So we didn't really talk too much about the IMMX up until right now, right? I mean, we talked about this stock from head to toe, as you can clearly see based off of all of my crazy lines. We talked about this stock in our Traders Talk workshop. So for all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I was referring to that in the morning meeting earlier today. If you wanted to join our live trading room, feel more than free to do so by going right down to the link on the banner below the stream to get yourself started. But for all of us there, Chuck, Norman, Ari, Bill, Mark, you folks were all part of that. Deborah, you saw what happened on this trade. If it's not going to break higher, we know what's going to happen. And I was saying at the same time, 727 should instantly be resistance if this comes back up to it. Clearly hasn't. And you can say the same at 7 here. God forbid if this does make it to 7 here. I like this afternoon push, though. Really volatile start to this trade here so far, and in a good way. So great call. This IMMX. We'll see if this can keep pushing. All right, from Norman, and this was from earlier. I'm going to check back in on the trading room. Going to check back in on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. So if there's anything that you would want me to, look at here, let me know. So like Norman wrote earlier, ALZN. This one we already talked about. He may have posted that before I jumped to it, perhaps. So this one we already got, looking good. And then just checking YouTube right now. So I was late to Mitch's comment there. Mitch Connor, great to have you back. Asking about the IMMX. So same deal, right? All right, folks, I'll tell you what, I think that we're just about good to go here. Otherwise, I will check Benzinga Pro. Don't mind doing that just to see if there's any last runners here that we may have missed. How about this? I'll do a little extra here. Toss up Benzinga Pro, the signals page. You got the news feed here. See if there's anything that's cooking from their signals here. REE is breaking a high of the day. It's a cheapie below $1. No, $6.40 stock. It's up 14% though. REE. Ooh, look at that. Whoa. We totally skipped over this one. I mean, it's popping right now, so that's why it's popping up on that signals feed currently. But this looks great. Oh my God. I mean, you have about 10,000 shares on the offer on the ask at 650. So we would assume 650 to be a pretty big level as is. There's definitely a bit of a bigger order sitting there. But the way this looks right now, I'm going to put on our list if this totally flops right back under that former peak that it made right around 11:30 Eastern time, then I'd scratch it off. But we're going to put this on our list. REE. All right, you know what? We'll jump back to Benzinga Pro. We'll go right back to the well. Why not? Anything else that I missed? Tupperware, TALO. Nah. All right, that's good. I think that's just about it, folks. That's all I got here otherwise. And that's fine. We got a really good list so far. Not too big, not too little. The shoe just fits. And plus, it's not just the number of stocks you have on the watch list. Like that ALZN looks great. Ford looks great. If you're more of a level 3 trader and above, that LAC trade looks great. IMMX, of course, included. So, I really like this list heading into the close so far, folks. I would rather you start and stick with this list to begin. And then, hey, if there's anything that makes a pop worthy enough of being called out, we'll call it out if it's worthy enough, right? So you know what I mean by that, folks. For all of us in the trading room, like Chuck and Norman and Ari and Grant and Deborah and Gene, you folks have been with us for months and even years. So, you know the deal. Let's start and stick with this list. And then if there's anything that makes a bigger move, we'll work on it at that point. All right, folks. But aside from that, good list to start off with for all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube. As always, I appreciate you joining me each and every day, each and every afternoon. You can send me a quick email if you'd like, josh@ctutrading.com. Any questions, thoughts, feedback, concerns, anything that you'd like to share with me, feel more than free to do so. I always like to take care of all of our students and members at first in the live trading room. So I typically get back to all of us in social media within a day or two's time. All right. But for all of us in the trading room right now, allow me a couple of moments to reshare the screen. I'm going to post the watch list, and then I'll be back on the mic myself at 3:30 Eastern time, folks. All right. I'll talk to you all then.